In this video, we're going to discuss the campfire behavior. All right, so I've set up a little scene here inside of a cave. Now, this is not part of the Through Stone and Shadow series. This is really just a demonstration of the campfire behavior, so the fact that it's inside of a cave is kind of a coincidence. But here I've set up a little campfire and I've got some sticks nearby, and that's the fuel source that we use for the campfire. Now, if I get away from the campfire, you can see it's very cold in this cavern. And as a result, my heat index is going down, kind of slowly ticking down, and my health is getting worse because I'm cold. So we need to warm up. So we're going to come up to this campfire here and pick up one of these sticks. And here's the campfire. Now I have to press E to start the campfire, or I can press Q to put it out, or I can press page up and that'll pick up the campfire. So if I do that, I'm just going to pick it up. So I've now picked it up. I can carry it off somewhere, deploy it somewhere else just by pressing page down, and then it goes down. I'm going to press E to put the stick in the campfire. And so here we have a couple things happening, right? We have some sound playing. We have the particle effect happening and the light happening. And then also my heat index is going back up. So if I stand close enough to the fire, I'm getting warmer, just like you would expect to. And if I get away from the campfire, so I'm going to do this here in a second once the heat gets up a little higher, then I'll get cold again. But notice that my health is no longer going down, right, because I'm not cold. So if okay, so that's probably warm enough. I'm going to step away from the fire, and right away I'm starting to get colder. Right, and right away my health is going down. So I need to stay near the campfire. Now the campfire will eventually go out based on time that I've set for each resource, but I can collect more sticks and put more wood on the fire to keep it going. So let me show you how this works. Couple things we have to cover here. There's a lot going on. I've got a couple variables that I've created, and I've got a collectible that I've created, and all of these things are in service of the campfire. So let's start with the variables. I think it's very important. So I just set up a really quick cold and hot bar right here, and on that bar we have these two variables that I've set up. So I've got temp and max temp. Those are custom variables that I created. The way you create a variable, incidentally, is you would just add a user-defined global here, and you see it says custom value. You just type in whatever it is you want it to be. So maybe it's my mojo. Now, don't forget, after you've done typed in the name of the variable, just press the enter key, and that saves it. And now you have my mojo that you can preset to whatever value you want to start out with. And as you can see, they're on the screen here, but they're hidden. So there's temp and max temp. In order to do that, you just tick this little box here. It says hide the text, and then the variable won't be displayed. It'll just be operating in the background. And that's the way this works. And so we've got the temp bar here, which, like I said, is a ratio of temp over max temp. So as I get colder, temp goes down or goes up as I get hotter. That's the way the variable works. So that's kind of the first thing you need to understand. So back here, the next thing we need to know is that underneath it all, there is a zone. So click on the zone, and on the zone we have a global affected zone. Now I've covered this behavior before, so I'm not going to go line by line on this one, but ultimately this is what's causing me to get cold. And so it's deducting health every so often when I'm in that zone. If I'm near the campfire is overriding that, and it's causing me to get warmer, not hotter. So anytime I'm outside of the range of the campfire, I get colder. And there it is. All right. The only other thing you have to understand is about the collectible objects. So, again, I've covered this in previous videos. I'm not going to explain it line by line. I'll try to leave links for these videos in case you need to go back and review. But ultimately, the sticks obviously are going to need to be collectible, which means you're going to need an inventory screen so you can collect the object. You're going to have to make sure that you set it as a collectible object here, and I would always do always active on these just so that they don't stop being collectible as you move away from them. And then you have the collectible settings here that you have to set up. The most important thing here is the name of the item, and that's the name of the item, not the name of the item description. So notice that these are both stick, but it's really the name of the object that matters, not the item description. This kind of threw me for a loop at first, why I'm making sure I explain this. I put stick here and then it didn't work and I couldn't figure out why. And it was because the name of the object was not stick. And that's really what it's looking for, is the name of the actual object. So if you have it as not collectible, you can change the name of the item and then check the is collectible tick box, and that'll put it back in the database as a collectible object. So make sure that matches. So that's everything you need to understand so far in order to get set up, because everything I'm about to cover right now is going to reference one of those things that I just covered. So you need to understand those things first. So obviously this is the campfire here. It's always active. If we go to the behavior, we start out with the use range, which obviously is just how close do you have to be in order to see those prompts and interact with it. You have the pickup text and the deploy text. Now you can start out with this, in your inventory and just deploy it later, or you can have it set up like I did and then pick it up and put it down at will. That's up to you. I wouldn't change this text because these are predefined hotkeys or buttons for that behavior, so you don't want to change that text really all that much, at least not the reference to which key it is. Same thing with the use text, where E to start, Q to put it out. And then here we're showing what resource is required. Now this too kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop, because when you click on an object like this and you tick the box that says is collectible, there's also this tick box that says is resource. Notice I do not have it ticked, and that's just because that's not really what is meant here. A resource in that context is talking about crafting. So if it's a resource used in crafting, that's the tick box you would tick for that. But this is not that. This is a resource, meaning what do we use in order to light the fire? It could be matches, it could be sticks, it could be, whatever it is that you want to make the source, but it's the name of the object that is the thing that lights the fire. Then we have the heat range. Now in my case, I set it to 200 units. So that's a radius around the campfire. And the heat delay. So that's the number of seconds between the time I light the fire and the time I start feeling warmth. Now this of course is optional, but I obviously chose to put a particle here, and the particle's name is fire. So that's what it's referencing there. Same thing with the light source. I've got a little light globe in here. It's right there. And that's named Firelight. Very clever naming convention, I know. But obviously you'd want to set that light to like a flame, so it kind of looks a little more realistic. The glow effect is just going to allow it to the campfire itself to glow based on the emissive, right? So if your object has an emissive, it'll glow based on that emissive. So it just kind of depends on the object you're using as the campfire. I mean, this could easily just easily be maybe a stove or something like that, and or any other heat source that you want to act in the same way without necessarily showing a particle effect or a light. So that's kind of why that's there. The is deployed checkbox is ticked when you want the campfire to be deployed automatically when the level is started, which is what I wanted. So I ticked the box there. This is where the user global affected goes. So you remember the temperature is what's going up and down as I get closer or further away from the campfire. Max temp is just the denominator for the ratio for the bar that I set up, so you could see it going up and down. That's not really technically necessary for this. It was just good for illustration purposes. The effect type, if I get close to it, what should happen? Am I adding or deducting from this variable? Obviously, in my case, I wanted to add to show that I was getting warmer, but that's not always necessarily what you want. So that's up to you. The affected amount would be how much of that effect is happening over the course of time. I think that's every tick or every second. I'm going up 3 points per tick. So probably every second. The burn life is how long is it going to last? So if I put a stick on the fire, how long does it burn? In my case, I set it up really, really high just so that I wouldn't have it accidentally going out while I'm trying to demonstrate it. But, this obviously is in seconds. So if you set it to 15 seconds, it would go out in 15 seconds. That'd be very fast. So you want to decide like what's right for you. The prompt text, very similar to what we've seen in other behaviors. It just tells you where is the prompt text going to display. Is it going to be at the bottom of the screen like I showed you, or is it going to be local to the object, meaning close to the object? The highlight item, or item highlight, I should say, that is another one that you see a lot in interactable objects. And I've set it to none, which means there is no highlight at all. If I had chosen shape, then the entire shape of this object would have highlighted, or I could have done outline, which you saw on the sticks. That's what I had on the sticks to give that little white outline that went around it. So play around with that and decide what's best for your scene. The last three parameters here are the sound slots. And then as always, I always go up to the text here to kind of remind myself which sound goes to what, because it usually says up here in the description, just in case you forget which one is which. But for sound 0, the first sound slot, that says for collection sound. So when I collect the object, then it plays a sound. When I deploy the object is sound 1. And then sound 2 is the campfire sound. So that little loop sound that you heard as the fire was burning. So that's it. That's the campfire behavior explained. I do plan to use this in through Stone and Shadow later, so I wanted to explain it first before I use it, just so you guys can follow along if you really want to. If you enjoyed the video, or if you learned anything new, please be sure to click the like button down below. That helps me out a lot. If you're new here, or if you just haven't subscribed yet, would love to have you stick around. And lastly, if you'd like a notification for whenever new videos are posted, just click the bell icon and that'll let you know when a new video is ready. But thanks so much for watching all the way through. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Hey, don't forget there's a written guide for every behavior, including ones I haven't yet covered on this channel. And if you want to learn some more, why don't you check out this video next.